Good afternoon, good evening, and good day. Wherever you are in the world, shout out, big up yourself. Today, today, we are talking about Earth technology. Yes, so I need to actually get some people in here. I hope I'm looking. I sound good. I look good. You can see the smile. Let's get our guest on the floor. Join the live and participate in our conversation. Let's see if we can get this done now. Uh, how we look now?
Yeah, yep, you're much clearer.
Okay, good. Once I had to start again. Okay, my friend asking me what did he miss? I'm just telling him we're here, we're back. I think people was coming to join. I sent out all the links so like, hey, come join us, we're live. All right, so sound clear,
Yep,
picture clear.
everything's clear, crystal.
Oh gosh, technology, Earth technology. Well, I don't know if could we call this Earth technology. I find it quite interesting. I was having a conversation recently, and I was like, you know, it's very peculiar. We use the internet to talk to each other, and it's a person that's posting online. So it's a person that we're interacting with. What the middleman is the phone now, and the other part as well. I was explaining like light and life, and I was saying like, look, if physical things are composed of two fundamental principles, as we learn in Nemetu, light and sound. So if one does not contain light, one does not exist. And a lot of people are not aware of this perspective of self, physical self, and the material things around us. So our technology comes from materials that are made from the earth. So, Earth technology. Talk to me, Sister Golda. How are you today? How's things going?
Right, so yeah, so as I said earlier, I'm good actually. I'm really, really good. I can't complain.
Thank you,
I'm doing
thank you.
well. Thank you. And how are you?
One art calm.
Mm.
Yes, I would ask the question how the response is one art calm or one art happy. Had a nice conversation with a friend I've not spoke to for over a year, just after we spoke earlier.
Mm.
And we
Mm.
chopped up some mishy-mashy headache and confusion. It was quite good to hear from him and to hear what had happened to him and what we've both been going through. And yeah, yeah, eye-opening moments.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because when I finished speaking with you,
Yeah.
a friend of mine for I haven't spoke to in about 2 years phoned me as well. So it's
Wow.
really interesting. Yeah, yeah.
So they're turning up all of a sudden now, the old friends coming out of the woodworks.
Yeah, yeah, they are. They
That's a
are.
good look. That's a good look. That's a good look. Yeah, man. But I'm Irie. I'm Irie of us. Thank you for asking.
Good, good, good. So the second one. Yeah. So
Yes. Earth
yeah.
technology.
Right. Okay. So, just for the listeners who didn't hear last week's Instagram live, I'm promoting an event that's taking place in Birmingham on the summer solstice,
Hmm.
and it's called Earth Consciousness and Sustainability. And so, what this is about the alchemy of the soul, the Earth technology or the Earth mind, and then
Hmm.
and then the co-creative principle between the soul and the earth and how suppression interferes with that.
Hmm.
So, in order to kind of like give a better understanding for people who might be interested in attending, I'm doing these three Instagram live. So last week we did the alchemy of the soul. So this week we're going to look at the consciousness of the earth, and then next week we'll look at suppression. And yeah, and so the event is really to promote the co-creation of earth and soul. And to get people to understand what that is and how that works. So like the majority of us, we've actually forgotten how our consciousness co-creates our reality, and we're no longer connected to the earth and to nature and to to the space, to the sun, to the cosmos. It's like that connection has been severed. Even kind of like the interdimensional worlds that exist at one point in our past and ancient future. We collaborated consciously with the other realms and everything that's around us. So I put the question to you. I know you're not necessarily of that nature, but why do people think it's strange if you talk to the sun or talk to a tree or communicate? Why do you think that is? Why has that become such a weird thing to do?
I actually ask this question a lot. I think one of the main reasons we think this way is how we're taught in school, because we're taught that the sun is just a giant ball of liquid lava, fire, whatever. They can't even put a finger on whether it's this or that, other than it gives us light. And it's 80 odd million miles away, or 90 odd million miles away. So why, in given that level of education, people wouldn't think, oh, I can talk to something 80 million miles away. That's definitely beyond most people's thoughts. But then my other point is, does the sun not have a soul?
The sun is the soul.
Now you see, that was going to go into that part there. That was going to come next, So, it's 93 million miles away. All it does is shine light for us. That's what they say.
So they say. Remember what I said to you last week? Don't believe nothing.
Don't believe nothing. So I think for most people, it would just be that reality of what we get taught in school, and the idea that a tree has a soul is like, what? How? I'm like, well, it breathes oxygen. You breathe out carbon dioxide, it takes in the carbon dioxide and then gives oxygen, and then you breathe in the oxygen. So I don't know why we don't think that something that gives you the most important part of air doesn't have feelings. That blows my mind. So we're willing to take the fruits from it. We're willing to take oxygen all day. We're willing to chop it down and use it to do this, that, but we don't ever stop to talk or listen to the tree. That's us.
Okay, so what if I put it to you that, okay, they do know, but it's not being kind of normalized. They do know all that. So what would be another reason for, okay, we're not being taught to connect with the nature of ourselves through nature itself? Because if you think about it, all traditional people across the globe, whether, I don't know, they're druids or pagans or shamans or you name it, their connection was to nature. It was always to nature, and that got driven out.
Yes.
So, and so that became demonized. So for that to happen consistently, I can't say it's a coincidence. I just can't say it, because every traditional culture who were probably called, I don't know, savage or pagan was kind of like a negative connotation, but then Christianity hijacked half of it. But that was
They did.
so, so that was all stamped out. So if it wasn't important, if it didn't mean anything, why go to the
Such
whole?
great lengths.
Yeah, I did. Why do it? If it's not important, then you just leave it alone. Because oh right, they're not going anywhere. That's not important. Leave you there. That's fine.
Yeah. Why lie about it, or why leave that part out? I mean, children are very impressionable.
Yes.
So if you tell a child something and they find it to be true or factual, you can't change their minds about that again.
Yeah.
Whereas if I don't tell the child, I can lie to them about this situation. Mommy, can I have some cookies, please? No, I've got to go get some from the shop tomorrow. These times the cupboard full of cookies. But I don't want you to have those sugars right now. So I'm gonna lie to you so you don't go in the cupboard and get the sugars, which that's a good lie, so to speak. Or the better answer would be, yes, I do have cookies, but you're not allowed any because it's after hours and The difference between what we teach our children versus what the world teaches our children. Why do they not teach us? I think they don't teach us based on a theory that we've got called mind control.
Right. Okay. All right. So we'll leave that there. So now when I'm speaking now, I'm speaking from kind of like the perspective of the earth, and not from the perspective of human, I guess. So I'm seeking to remind souls of their connection with the earth and her kingdoms, and how once in the past and in the ancient future, everything we did was a collaboration. It was a collaboration. And so this is what this event is about. It's to demonstrate that collaboration and how working with the earth and all her kingdoms and working consciously with your soul to create a consciousness that supports the soul's evolution and the earth's evolution as well. So to me, a description of an evolved earth, in my mind, this is what it would feel like. And it would be that we can hear everything. So we can hear the trees and what the sun is saying and what the earth wants, and there's a whole collaboration. And so you're working on an entire different level. This is what the evolved soul looks like to me.
Okay.
And so until we connect to, I would say, nature and start connecting into the earth, I don't feel that there's going to be any evolution, because it's nature which gives the momentum to the evolution and consciousness.
Nature itself, yes.
Yeah,
Because you can't go faster than it allows you to go. If the tide's flowing this fast, you have to go faster than the tide, you need a boat engine.
Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to demonstrate in this event that we're having in Birmingham, because Birmingham is a very special place. And when I'm talking about Birmingham as a city, but also an ancient city, also an ancient path line, because when I'm working, I'm not working in kind of like with the current paradigm or these current times. I'm working with really old stuff. So
Yeah.
mega eons. Now just ignore all that stuff about the earth is this old, and ignore all that stuff about Lucy, or what's her name, Denakesh. Denakesh.
What you mean, the bones that they be finding all over the
Yeah,
place?
yeah, 2 million years. Forget that. It's much older than that. So,
Definitely.
yeah, we have to forget all that. And so, it energetically, we have to start to really feel into this type of reality, and not just look at, well, no, this says this and that says that. And you can only do that by connecting into your soul, like we spoke about last week, and B, into the earth. Because really and truly, the earth and the soul are really and truly one thing.
Mm.
I was told. Anyway, so this week, to come to the topic of consciousness, which we will be having some presenters at the event talking about kind of like space and the consciousness of space, etc. I'm just going to explain a little perspective here right now.
Mm-hmm.
So consider the following concept. So consider Earth is the physical manifestation of the universe. So everything that's found in the universe is found in Earth. So even when you look up in the sky, and even when you look through their telescopes and see different planets and stuff, my perception is that's still Earth, because everything physical is Earth.
Yes.
And so that's the macro consciousness in my perception. So then humans are a replica of everything that's within Earth. So they're the micro consciousness of Earth herself. And then you would have what I would call probably the omniverse. Now, to me, the omniverse isn't tangible unless you're working from your super senses. So when I talk about the super senses, so we've got, okay, the physical body has got like its main physical senses.
Yeah.
And then there's the higher senses like the clairs, so clairvoyance, clairsentience, clair blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And then when those two fuse together, you get something called super consciousness, super senses. And this is where the omniverse becomes tangible. Now this is just a concept, because if you hold the concept in your mind.
Yeah. Okay. I'm okay. Holding the concept. You got Dragon Ball Goku on me right now, like. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So just so I can reiterate. So most people who's probably talked to me on this level would hear me break it down. Science says you got 5 senses. A Chinaman will tell you those 5 senses are one sense, which is the sense of touch, broken down in 5 different paradigms, which I would then call the 5 dimensions of self. Then you've got what we would call common sense or mother wit, to know to get up, to clean, to keep yourself tidy, keep the environment tidy, things like that. Capital sense, which would be father understanding, to the ability to grow and to grow as you go, learn and grow. And then I think it was the clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentient, which then you had telepathy and telekinesis, which was another sense up. And then I think it was perception was the highest sense, because the one who perceives all of these senses as a part of the self. So are you saying that if you actually fuse these different senses together, there's a higher level of senses to attain to, even beyond that?
Yeah, so like the Chinese say, the super sense is actually one sense, all those senses fused together to make one sense. That's what the super sense is.
Okay.
So yeah. So again, it's a concept because you go around the world and different people might phrase it slightly differently and stuff like that. But you know, it's a similar concept, like the Chinese say, because the super sense is everything fused together. Yeah. So because you have to have everything fused together to be able to what's the word I'm looking for the omniverse to be, what's that word,
Activated.
not activated, but for it to come into your senses, for you to be able to perceive it, for you to
Okay.
be able to perceive it. Yeah. So you can only perceive the omniverse through and through the super senses. Yeah, the universe you can perceive through your clairs. Yeah, the clairs, and then the physical world through those more physical senses. So
Okay.
it's just a concept. You don't need to grip it and hold on to it. It's just the idea.
Okay.
So like the soul, the earth is crystallized consciousness. So last week we talked about, you know, light, sound, geometries, and you know, all the frequencies, vibrations, etc., which make up our being,
We,
and
we,
that's the
we got
energy.
we got a guest joining us, by the way. Sorry. He wanted to say hi to you, I assume. Hey, Mahaz, how you doing?
What's going on, brother? I just wanted people to come in to hear you guys speak. Don't mind me. They'll start coming in. I just wanted people to hear this. You guys are talking good stuff.
Thank you,
I
King.
want them
Thank
to
you.
hear.
Welcome to the live. And Golda, this is one of the brothers that I did say I wanted to get you on his live one of the times.
Right.
So he's here now. So thank you for joining us, bro.
Yes, blessings.
Greetings.
Big up. All right. So carry on, please, Sister Golda.
Yes. Yes. So the earth is made up of what the soul is made up, and so the earth is really crystallized consciousness. It's a big crystal consciousness.
Wow.
So, yeah. So you know, like the crystal skulls.
Yeah.
That's what that represents. The crystal skull
Oh.
represents the consciousness of Earth, because Earth is the one big crystalline consciousness. And so one of the ladies who will be presenting and doing the workshop, she's actually doing a workshop with her crystal skull, because she works through them with the Earth's consciousness. So she will be doing a workshop there. So that's Ashana Kula Ra.
Ashana Kulara.
Yes.
The names we have in today's society, I tell you.
She actually changed her name because she felt that her given name.
Was very
I
good.
mean, you probably can speak to her personally, but she
Yeah.
felt her given name made her ill, and
Oh,
that's what
really?
and that's what she was told to change it to.
Mm.
Mm.
Your given name can make it ill. That's because it's vibration.
Well,
So
she said the vibration wasn't vibrating with her. She couldn't get anywhere with that vibration, so she actually changed it, and I think she changed it by default. Mm.
So not like myself, who I'll just create an artist name and then have everybody call me that. My government name still what mummy gave me. Okay.
Well, you can check with her when you
When I,
meet
when I meet her
meet
at the
her.
event, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will. I will.
But I believe she changed it by default, so she
Okay.
wasn't messing about. When
So just for the guys who just jumped in and who were jumping in on the live, speaking with Sister Golda, one of our great lights of United Kingdom in the world, I would say. Um,
I told you. I like to stay on the ground. I will stay on the ground, mate. Don't put me anywhere there. Because as soon as you do that, I will make you regret it. I'm on the ground.
and we're talking about an event that we're having that's going to be hosted this summer solstice 2024, Earth Consciousness and Sustainability. And from just to keep it short, from my personal grasping, we have grids along Earth, node points, ley lines, etc. And the whole point of this project is to get us together and participate in cleansing these grids and clearing the blockages along these grids so that the consciousness of Earth can move forward to where it needs to go. Because right now, Mama's stuck. We are stuck. And she needs to get free. So this is what the whole movement's about. Short and sweet.
Well, to be honest, you know, the Earth can create different path lines, different grid lines. So there are actually people who live in a total different reality from I don't know, their neighbor, because of their consciousness. So they've already tapped into a particular path. So this path that's birthing through for the solstice is actually an old Kemetic line, and now not Kemetic or Egypt from this era, but it's a Kemetic, it's a galactic Kemetic line from where the Egyptians originate from, for want of a better word. So remember I said everything that is in the universe is templated in the Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, and so even those galactic realms, you know, the inter nature realms, etc., they're all a part of Earth consciousness. So this particular Kemetic line is coming through to support those old Kemetic souls. And all Kemetic souls, people. When I say that, they will know who they are. They're drawn to Kemetic philosophy, to Egypt. You know, they do spirituality hard because that's what Kemet did. They do spirituality hard, and so those who are interested in metaphysics. So this line is really coming through to support them to step back into alignment with their soul and to step back into that energy. And so, you know, really it's an opportunity for growth if you choose it. Because when I say step back in, it ain't that easy. Right? Because you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to like let go of some old stuff and move through the door and embrace some new stuff. So it's not as simple, but the space that's being created at that time is conducive to facilitate that conscious alchemy, and really also it's a gathering of old souls. Because to be honest, the majority of people in Birmingham are of that lineage. A big proportion are of that lineage, and that's because of the ancient line there. Because we would have known that at this time, at this in this sort of like land, and Birmingham, that we need to be here to connect with that. That's how we work. So you're not just in the land, oh, it's just an accident. You're in the land because you're contracted with the land. You're contracted with that consciousness and that space. And so understanding your role in the co-creation is really, really important. Because, you know, I'm getting people who are kind of like, they're really trying to awaken, and they're really trying to push themselves, but because they don't understand what's going on, and because they're so holding on to what they already know, they just can't let go. And so it's making it difficult, and it's making it difficult for themselves as well. So
okay.
yeah, because at the end of the day, think about it. When are you going to be at your optimum? When are you optimum as a being? It's not a
I'd
trick
say
question.
between 18 and 25.
Oh no. So you say you got the question. Yeah. So basically, what I'm talking about, you're going to be an optimum viable being when you're operating from your soul, from your
Okay.
pure soul. Yes.
Okay.
So when you're in that consciousness, you don't operate how other people operate. There's things that you do that don't make no sense whatsoever. And
Abstract.
that's okay. That's okay, because it won't make sense, because it's not in alignment with this consciousness. It's in alignment with another consciousness. So you can't
Higher
use
consciousness.
so you can't use this consciousness to make sense of it. And so that's what a lot of people are trying to do. So again, it's kind of like reminding them. This event is to remind them of their path, is to remind them of their soul self, and how they need to be interacting and collaborating with the earth and nature, because that's the only way you will get full understanding of the earth and full understanding of yourself. You're not going to get it from any books. Yes, some books might trigger you, but not until you go
into yourself naturally and
Yes.
have your divine true potential shine out. So, for example, how Christianity explains spirituality towards in the Western sense, we're not connected to nature. I was talking with an older brother yesterday. A couple of days ago, he had recently had a minor stroke, and so we're talking about Genesis. Sorry to talk, but I'm trying to give you a bit of a supporting vibe here. And so he's going on about Adam and Eve, constantly going into Genesis chapter 2. And I says, no, go back to Genesis chapter 1. Read Genesis chapter 1 again. Where in Genesis chapter 1 did it say it only made males? It said male and female created them and planted them in the middle of the garden. And I'm asking him, what bears fruits and multiplies? And he's like, well, a tree. So here we get the breath of life blown into the nostril of a being that is planted in the middle of a garden. That would make this being a tree with the breath of life. This is the tree of life that we are told not to eat of. So I had to explain to him cannibalism. The idea is not to be cannibalistic, not to eat another human or flesh, so to speak. So eat not of the tree of life and the tree of knowledge. And I just explained to him, well, if sperm becomes the pineal gland in the brain, then the consumption of sperm is cannibalism. And we don't get that. Most people don't get that.
Actually had 3 different creations of man in the book of Genesis. Most people aren't aware of. The first man that was created was Adam Kadmon, and this deals with the cosmological man. This cosmic man. We are a microcosm of that macrocosm. You see, and also if you look in Genesis chapter 5, the man and the woman were both called Adam, not just the man.
Point.
Right.
That's a good point.
So you had people only see 2, but there's actually 3 different
creation stories.
Right. So there's this cosmological man, which alludes back to what she was saying earlier, how even our bodies are a reflection or a microcosm of the universe. You see,
Yes.
and it's mapped out the same way of as that heavenly man, that Adam Kadmon. Each part of our body is reflective of a certain aspect of the cosmos. There are over 100 billion galaxies, just like there are over 100 billion neurons in
In the brain.
the brain,
Yeah.
right? Your
Yeah.
body is more comprised of space than it is matter. Most people don't understand that. So it's alluding to that point. And in the only way that, and this goes back to what she was saying earlier when you guys were talking about sentience, clairsentience, clairaudience,
Clear audience. Yeah.
what's really happening is how consciousness is attached to attention also. And consciousness and awareness are not the same things, right? What you pay attention to is what you will be conscious of, right? So if we're going to tap into nature or tune into nature, one must pay attention to nature, right? Because that develops your consciousness to be aware of nature. You see, so a lot of people, they're not paying attention to nature. They don't pay attention to the signs that take place. So they are not conscious of what's going on with nature. And it's not until you get to the space of where you become, till you pay attention, which is giving up a certain level of energy, right? Because all things cost something. So you pay attention. This is an aspect of your mind that you're allotting. You take in the feminine aspect of yourself, right? So that you can receive these aspects, right? And once you do that, it raises your levels of consciousness. You see what I'm saying? So in order to be godlike, not to be human, right? Because you're being human now, right? But being human comes with flaws. It comes with animalistic nature. It comes with all of these things,
The lower being,
right?
the Sahu.
But to be, because we are the bearers of the image of God. So in order to bear that image properly, we have to be attentive to certain things to raise our consciousness, right? So that we can reflect that. And in so raising the consciousness, we become more sentient. We become more sapient. We become more sensitive to the things around us, which ultimately raises our consciousness to the level to where we feel what God feels. We feel what nature feels, and then that's when we step outside of our own will, our own ego, and we step into the will of something higher. You know what I'm saying? We upgrade our ego to the status.
Man. Deep fatty breath. I'm so happy you jumped on the live. Thank you. Yeah, man. Yes. Micro, macro, bringing it, the conscious. And what I like especially is how you differentiated between awareness and attention.
Right.
Because I'm walking down the road, I may be aware someone's behind me, but I've not turned around to look. That requires attention. Simple as that. As simple as that. Most people don't realize that's the difference between awareness and attention. I'm very aware I'm walking with my child right now, but I'm not paying attention to my child. They've run off. Where are you going?
Right.
Get back.
But also consciousness acts the same way. I tell people conscious and awareness works like this. I am conscious that I'm in the room, but I'm not aware of the fly on the wall. you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And then and you think of attention as like a laser. It pinpoints something specific that you want to target, you know what I'm saying, your awareness on. To be aware of something, you have to use attention. You see what I'm saying? So attention is the laser that points to the thing that you want to be aware of, right? So that's how that works.
Yeah. So if you remember last week when we was talking, I told you that everything that's happening on the planet is a distraction. I says it's a 100% distraction, because if that's why the marketing industry is so big, because if they have your mind, if they have your consciousness, they have the power. And so and so you like I says, everything is a lie. You don't pay any mind whatsoever. What you do, you take the journey within, because only when you take the journey inwards and you filter everything through your mind, then you get an understanding. So when I say filter through your mind, let me say the higher mind, yeah. So filter through the higher mind, filter through the earth's mind, the crystalline mind of, then you get a better perspective. And so like I said last week, you know, my ancestors told me that no matter what's happening on the planet, no matter what's happening on the earth, stick to the earth. They said, pay no mind. And these ancestors were way before any time and space. So even before, you know, everything that happened in the modern era, even the ancient era, they said, don't pay no mind, just stick to the earth. And so this is why really important to our evolution, and to us actually knowing ourselves.
Right.
So,
And we have filters. People don't see them as filters, but the brain itself is a filter of consciousness, just like the heart is a filter of consciousness, right? We use these things to filter out particular things, and the way that they hijack consciousness is by hijacking your attention. You see?
yeah.
If I can take your attention, then like the doorway to your consciousness. So if I put these things on the news and you pay attention to it, if I put these things in your community and you put your attention on it, if I put this on the radio and you pay attention to it, ultimately it's going to work its way into your consciousness. So people have to really guard what they are attentive to. You know, it's very important to be aware of what you're paying attention to, you know, because ultimately it's going to find its way into your consciousness, you know?
Yeah. Think about it, right? Why would you let your children watch programs where people are being murdered? And sometimes you see the little child, and let's say it's, I don't know, it's a western, and you got the goodie and the baddie, and they're going, kill the baddie, and it's all, and you think, well, what type of consciousness are you creating? Do you understand? And so this is the consciousness that is creating our reality.
And it's very the pain body, that one there, that's the pain body one there, isn't it? That we enjoy the superhero beating up on the bad guy. I remember reading that in the book that taught me that the pain body. It was like, oh wow, we really have this psychology going on Earth now. Superman's a good guy. Yeah, Superman's a good guy. Why is he a good guy? Because he comes from a different planet. Batman's a good guy. Why? Because he's got lots of money. Same with Iron Man, a guy with lots of money who says he's doing things to help people, but you're hurting other people, you know that, right? Like you're punching someone, kicking them up and down the alleyway, and then you're going to put handcuffs on them and drop them off at the police station. Like, bruh, you need to hand yourself in. Like, you physically hit someone to talk to them. And if we can apply that to politics, and then we can actually shift how politicians behave too, because it comes down to that point. Why do you have time to beat up on other people, but you don't have time to elevate? Why do you have resources to break down, but you don't have resources to build up? But we as a community have to be self-aware. We have to focus on ourselves, and that's why I'm trying to promote this as much as possible, so we can get as many people aware. Because you know, when you said to me, we're going to be in Birmingham, West Midlands, England, I'm like, okay, but Golda, what about the rest of the world? This is Earth consciousness, right? I know this is our primary focus, but can we get the rest of the world involved at some point? Someone in Hawaii, someone in Japan, South Africa, holler at me. Like we
well, there is something? And what you're describing is known as communal spirituality.
Yes.
You know, or the greater consciousness, right? And whether people are aware of it or not, it exists. You just have to tap into that level of consciousness. So, you know, and the way we bind each other together in this communal spirituality, this is the importance of ritual. Ritual binds us, you know, and we move as a unit. So you could be doing something on that side of the globe, right? And I can be doing it at the same time. This is why holidays were so important, because it's people doing things simultaneously in different spots at the same time. You know, it's tapping in at the same time. So you know, for me, if I would tell you, you know, just make sure that when you're doing it on that side, make sure you have someone on the other side doing the same thing at the same times. You know what I mean? Because that's how you tap in together, you know?
No, definitely. Well, Ras has said he's going to sort out the live streaming and everything. So we will be doing a live stream, but it's only going to be of the presentations and the spoken word. The workshops, there won't be any live stream in those workshops.
Yeah.
So at least people can connect into that sphere of consciousness and that sphere of energy.
Yes.
So anyway, so if I carry on with,
yes, that's okay.
Yeah, so if I carry on with sort of like, okay, so just to give, I mean, we've talked about sort of like the examples between ourselves, but there's just, you know, some basic examples. So, you know, let's think about the fabric of your house. You know, the fabric of your house. So these are made of bricks and mortar. Still molecules, still light, okay, yeah, dense light, but still molecules. So when you connect with that space and you put out your energy in that space is going to take on your energy, because it's still light, it's still consciousness. So that's why you can walk into a building and just know that something bad happened there, or you feel it because the imprint is left in the fabric of the construction of the building. So for example, I went to somewhere called Little Rock in Arkansas. And they had, because I went to this thing called Earth Consciousness, Earth Keepers, a while back, and in Arkansas they had the old slave houses and stuff. So I thought, oh, I'll go and visit it. So I'm all fine and everything. I go into this place. I never vomited so hard in my life. They just
walked in the building and started vomiting, making wow.
Yeah, because it was an old, not slave house, but like manor house where they had slaves, and they were using it like an old slave museum. And I could feel everything, and I just vomited. And the lady was with me, and she was saying, "Are you all right?" And I said, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!" So also this is the same when you visit certain sites. So you can visit a church or a castle. You can just put your hand on the wall and fabric and know what's happened in that space. So people just have to have a wider understanding of the context of their consciousness and how it's actually impacting their physical space as well as their inner and outer space. And then we move on to what I call the noumena. So noumena creates spaces, and Pythagoras really worked with the noumena of sacred spacing. So when you connect to the consciousness of a noumena, that space of the noumena can take you interdimensionally. And so let me give you some examples. So I was up in the Peak District. It's pouring down with rain. I was on the tour. It's called the Man of Tour or something, the Old Man Tour in the Peak District. It was
Peak
pouring
District,
down.
is that near Sherwood Forest, Peak District?
No,
Middle of it?
Sherwood Forest is not. No, it's up in Bakewell, near like parts of Sheffield and them parts.
Yeah, man. Sherwood Forest goes all the way up to Manchester.
I don't know. You might be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so anyway, I was just sitting down in the rain because I was just enjoying it anyway. I don't mind rain, and then in front of me, everything just opened out, and I saw a savannah, the Serengeti, and animals walking across. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going, "What?"
This is the middle of England.
No, I'm in England.
Yeah, and you're seeing Serengeti.
And
Wow.
animals moving across the plain, and then I heard interdimensional. I had another one whereby I was running in the park, and I was just running in the park, and then all of a sudden I see Egypt and the pyramids open right up in front of me. I was going, what? and again, the interconnectedness of everything. So people need to kind of like understand consciousness in this way. And so the Numina creates spaces. It creates your space. And so when I was putting on this event, I really wanted people to feel that connection of, with the space, with the interdimensional nature of it, the galactic beings that will come through, the elementals, the plant and animal kingdoms that are all corroborating in this space, not to mention the cosmic and the summer solstice gateway, which is going to be active at that specific time. And so when you start connecting up in this way and having that consciousness of, okay, I need to connect with the space in this consciousness, not in an old consciousness, your reality changes. It changes immensely. And
some people, they don't. Space and time operate differently based on your levels of consciousness, right? So a person of a lower level of consciousness, they measure time based off of the planet's rotation and what they perceive to be the movement of the sun. I was talking about this earlier. As you begin to understand how time really works, time is really not based off of that. Time is based on the execution of an event to the ending of an event, right? On a higher level of consciousness. Like when people say, well, we're going into a new day. Well, what do you mean by we're going into a new day? You know what I'm saying? We've been going through days. No, it's based off of how you measure time. If you measure time based off of the cycles of the sun or by the lunar calendar, or you can base it based off of experiences. But space works the same way. On a lower level, you might think of space as the thing between two objects. Right.
Yes.
But on a higher level, you understand that space is merely potential and opportunity, right? When you look at it from a higher level of consciousness, right? But it's your level of consciousness will determine how you see space and how you see time. So what you were able to pierce, like even how you understand how portals work, like and things of that nature. Most people think that because I'm here, I'm not there. But a higher level of consciousness, you're everywhere, right? All I have to do is set my attention on that thing, and I am there. And that's how portals really work and how they open up. We have seaports, airports, land ports, all these different ports, and then you take a vehicle and you travel through to the next port, right? But in the spiritual world, it doesn't work that way. The minute you set your attention on something, you have entered into that field. You've entered into that space, so to speak, right? So it's just understanding, and this is why consciousness is so important. Though you're way across the pond, right?
Yeah.
We can be in the same place and in the same space.
We
You know,
we
you
are
understand,
all,
right? That's a fact. That's a fact.
because the fact that this is happening means that we're in a space somewhere having this conversation, and that's what I was saying to you today when I said,
Yes.
when I'm doing some work, I can feel myself years ago and in the future doing the same work all at the same time, working at the same time. And so that's he's just explained that. That's the feeling I have when I'm doing things. So
And right now we are in, if we were measuring time based off of like how most people perceive time, we're actually in in the past's present. You know what I'm saying? We're experiencing futures past. Think
Yeah.
about this. The
Yeah.
sun is thousands and thousands of, it's light years like away. The
Okay.
stars that you see are light years away. So by the time the light from that object hits here, that's the past. That's literally the past.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're getting the light from that thing in the past.
yes,
It's already beyond that time. You see
yeah,
what I'm saying? So you're really in the present now. You're getting past light, letting you know about the future. You
yes.
know, it's yeah, it's crazy.
Deep.
Yeah, so that also, because remember when I was saying about it's like being on a tightrope, and you got the thing behind you and the thing in front of you, but they're all happening at the same time, and it just takes a while for it to catch up here. So we're behind it already. So he just explained it perfectly, there. So yeah.
I told you, I did say to you, go on, this is one brother on Instagram. I just seen him the other day. Universal introduced me to you, hey Mahaz. So big up to you, Universal. All Universal. And I was like, hold on. I need to get you on this brother's channel. He's got bare conscious people around him.
And how you
yeah.
and how you stay in the present, the true present, is to be in the presence, right? To be in proper present, to be truly present, is to be in the presence of true light. And true light is truth. Truth allows you to be at the heartbeat, to literally be at the chest of the divine, to really be at the moment of what is going on, the isness of the business. You know what I mean? Like it keeps you planted. So whenever you're walking in truth, it allows you to experience nature in real time, the cosmos in real time. You know what I mean? And so this is why it's so important for people to walk in truth.
Yeah.
Because this is what makes you light. Literally light as in non-heaviness, but also light in the sense of illuminating.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Truth.
Yes.
My art is all about honesty. One of the key laws of my art is I have bear no false witness, told no lies. I keep the waters pure. That one, I have not polluted the waters. When I teach people about the 42 virtues of my art, and I ask them which waters is my art referring to, they're like, oh. I'm like, is it the water in the river? Is it the ocean? Is it the rainwater, or is it the water in your body? Or is it all of these waters? Because they are all waters, and we are instructed not to pollute the water. What we do, we drink alcohol, we smoke, we do all of these crazy things that destroy the temple, the physical temple. But then we get the external destruction. So the micro becomes macro, because now we've created, vehicles that are literally a cigarette to the air. We're taking the oil out of the ground and burning it in the car. Now it's a cigarette for the whole planet to smoke.
The water, the water represents consciousness, primordial consciousness, which is the ultimate intelligence. It is divine. What most people refer of as ether. Like this world is built on waves and particles, but what causes that wave or that ripple is divine intelligence. And that divine intelligence is tied to memory. We know that the mem is a symbol of the waters, right?
Yeah.
So when we want to tap into divine intelligence, what we're doing is tapping into our soul memory, right? The intelligence that the soul already has, right? You're tapping into that, and you're relaying that to your consciousness, right? Which brings it to your attention. You see what I'm saying? So when we're speaking of those primordial waters, what we're talking about is divine intelligence. It's divine intelligence. It's the thing that it's the foundation in which everything was created. It was all created upon this divine intelligence that moves throughout all things, that penetrates all things, but yet it cannot be grasped with the hand. You know what I'm saying? You can't smell it with the nose. You know, it is not tangible, yet it caused everything that's tangible to be. You know, this is that divine intelligence. You know.
Yeah. So the question is then, because you know we speak about truth and being in truth, so it's not often that people actually speak truth. They actually fear to speak their truth. And so again, this causes a distortion in the consciousness, in the consciousness and the fabric of their own soul and of Earth soul. And when you do speak your truth, you're criticized or scrutinized. So you know, it's very difficult for some people to walk that path. It's not an easy path. It's so easy just not to say nothing, or you know, just carry on with the herd, with the
herd mentality movement. Yeah, the sheep are all going this way, so we're all gonna go that way because we're sheep. We're not. No, we're not going to the edge. We're going this way, but the edge is the direction you're going because we're following a blind sheep. There's no shepherd up here, you know, and that's where society is now. Blind shepherds leading blind sheep, and the few of us that are trying to tend to the pastures. You know, I think Goldie, you say all the while, you know, who for come and who not for come nobody there.
I think what
can't
throws
force everybody to be conscious. This is impossible.
You know what throws a lot of people off is when people say their truth. You know, because that gives people a lot of trepidation when people say their truth, because we're not owners of the truth. You see, we don't own truth. Truth can possess us. We can possess truth, but we don't own truth, you know, and I think people feel a level of trepidation and they go into a space of judgment whenever someone says my truth, because when you say I can't, that means that I can't really experience that truth because it's yours. You know, it's yours. It's something that came from your experience, so it's limited, right? But when we understand how truth works, it's not my truth or your truth, it's the truth. And the truth of the matter supersedes even my perception of truth. You know what I mean? Like, so I never go into conversations telling people like this is my truth. If it's not the truth, I won't speak it, because my truth could be very subjective, and it might not even and that truth may be a little off. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing about sin. Sin is missing the mark, right? It's typically, even a good lie contains truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's just based off of my perception or my, you know, or how I've subjugated it, right? Then there's a little bias in my truth. You know what I mean? My truth will always contain a certain level of bias. You know?
But it's subject to your consciousness, because I'm guessing that your truth when you was a little boy is completely different to your truth now. So it's subjected to evolution.
Right.
So when you say absolute, talk about sort of like an absolute truth, and that the absolute truth is, I think there is no truth. It just goes on because you change as you go through. But as a being, when you're in a collective and you're saying something that, okay, it's not what the collective really wants to hear, then I understand why some people don't say anything. Some people just suppress because of the scrutiny that they get. And this is where we need to start breaking down those and saying to people, look, you're a unique piece of the universe or even the omniverse, and your unique piece has an expression and it needs to be expressed, or the whole part complete. I'm always talking about the jigsaw, and if one person's missing or one bit's missing, you know, nobody completes. And so it's important to start, I would say, start with the children, because we're all ingrained, we are, and it's harder to get us to shift, but we need a system when we start working with children to get them to be able to express that and not for them to be suppressed, so that, you know, we can create a reality that's more based on the soul, hence based upon the true consciousness. And I heard you talking about humans there earlier on, but I didn't want to interrupt you. And, you know, it's just a little bit. A real human is actually aligned to the earth consciousness. So those that are not aligned to the earth, who are not working with the earth consciously, are not humans. And that's just my opinion. They're working against their own nature, so they're not human. They're not humans.
Well, no, but see, well, I'm like, okay, so in my school of thoughts, like, I study, my grandmothers are native, and my grandfathers are native too. I have some African ancestry, but I also grew up practicing Jew, right? Okay. Based off of my mother's grandmother. So we have something that we teach. It's called Yetzirah, and Yetzirah deals with certain people have a certain inclination to do bad things. That's they're more inclined to do bad things based off of their ancestry, you know, based off of, you know, like like that goes into you bear the sins of your father and things of that nature.
The genetics,
right? Like certain people are more inclined to smoke, a little more inclined to lie, more inclined to be lustful and things of that nature based off of your makeup. To me, it doesn't make them less human, right? But it does show a certain level of, it does show a certain level of your inclination, right? I don't think that we were just put here to be human, even though we are human beings. A true righteous person realizes that they bear the image of the Creator. They themselves bear an image that is of the likeness of the divine, right? So you're more than a human. You're just being human right now. You know, and when you're not a human, you'll still be being. You see what I'm saying? And it's the righteous human that recognizes this, that my being goes beyond just being human. It goes to the place of reflecting divinity. You see, and so I don't take people's humanness away from them to that degree, because I know that along with the human, that the human bears certain animalistic qualities, right? This goes back to the fall, right? The fall of man, Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve tried to wrap themselves up in the fig, but God had to kill an animal and wrap them up in the animal's skin. This was symbolic of them taking on a new nature based off of the knowledge of the world that they had gained, right? So this was showing that man in himself, that the soul of man was also now wrapped in animalistic nature. He takes upon, and man must subdue these animalistic tendencies, right? And many different men, you know, struggle with these animalistic tendencies, right?
Can I add to that just
Yeah.
briefly?
Oh yeah.
I would say one of my perspectives would be, say for example, Cain is a tribe and Abel is a tribe. Cain decided that they would sacrifice the eating of fruits and herbs, whereas Abel decided, well, I'm not going to eat animals. So the tribe of Abel became vegans. So they had a whole different mentality on life and behavior compared to the tribe of Cain, who were mostly aggressive because of how they had to eat. For example, become hunters, hunt animals down, kill, all of those things. Whereas Abel was like, I don't need to kill anything. I can grow the trees. Because sacrifice can mean so many different things. But this was just a perspective I had as a teenager. So what if that was the case? Abel was actually a vegan, so he wasn't a violent person, whereas Cain, who ate animals all day and that whole tribe ate animals, they were aggressive. So they actually went and attacked the Abel tribe. And that's a perspective based on, you know, referring to what you're saying here, how you perceive and what you're focused on.
Well, yeah,
no, you go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
No,
go ahead.
No, because I was just going to add to that, because when I'm talking about human,
yeah,
the human is represented by every kingdom on the planet. So whether it's nature or the animal kingdom or the elemental kingdoms or the intergalactic kingdom. So when I'm talking about human, I'm not just talking about in this physical form.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking about the human soul, I'm talking about that soul which is intrinsically connected to the planet, because that's the soul of our evolution. So this is intergalactic, interdimensional, elemental, animal, mineral, crystal kingdom, the cosmos, everything. And so that's what I call the human soul. Now, when you're disconnected from that, you are, in my opinion, yes, you're human, but you're disconnected from your soul. You're disconnected from your source. So, yeah. So that's what I mean by human. It's everything. Remember, I said that the human is a microcosm of the earth, the macrocosm. So we're every part of it. But then when you become disconnected from that, that's when you're no longer human.
Right. So for in my culture, there are different aspects to the soul, and you have different parts of the soul, right? That resonate. So, like say for instance, you have a ruach, you have a nefesh, you have a neshama, you have a chaya, you have a yakida.
Right? Okay, you need to explain to me what those are.
Right.
I don't know.
So let me break it down. So the ruach is what you would know of, the aspect of the soul that you know of as spirit.
Right.
It's intrinsically tied to the breath, to a particular degree.
Ruach.
The ruach. The nefesh. This is the lower aspect, like the animal soul, right? This is the animalistic nature of a man. The neshama is when is the higher aspect of that aspects of the soul. Then when you want to get into the parts that operate on a divine level, that are operating on a divine level, you go to the higher aspects, which are the chaya and the yachida, right? So even the portions of a man's soul, even the ancient Egyptian broke the soul down and divided it into these parts too. To the ancient Egyptian, they had 9 aspects of the soul.
Yeah.
You know, you had the ba, the ka, the ib, the shuit, you know what I mean? Like all these different portions of the soul. And certain parts of these aspects, they can die. They like upon the, and then other parts can be transmuted, right? And they're transmuted and able to ascend to higher levels, right? So are certain aspects of the soul that must subdue other aspects of the soul, right? In order to resonate at a particular frequency. Many people are merely operating with their ruach, operating with their nefesh, right? And this is symbolic of, say, like I say this all the time, like your foot. Your foot has a soul, right? But that soul is usually covered with a shoe, something made of leather, right? And the teaching behind that is that the soul is wrapped around with something. Like there's something that covers it. And these are these different natures that man takes upon, you know, in order to operate. And each aspect of these souls, they follow an order of dissemination, right? And if there's something that man isn't doing right, based off of sin and based off of desires and ego or whatever the case may be, it brings about think of it like a radio signal. You can't quite get the signal because you're not at the right frequency, right? Or you're not in the right position. Even though you're on the right channel, you're just not in the right space to actually hear from that. So there are aspects of the soul that people they're unable to hear. It's not a loud voice to them because of the walk that they're walking life throughout, right? So if you're in sin, if you're walking in sin and walking in corruption, it's hard for you to hear from the higher aspects of your soul. You're more than likely hearing from your animalistic nature, your earthly passions and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So our ancestors understood this. This is why they were able to with discernment, able to see, wait a minute, this is a different aspect of the soul at work here, right? This isn't a divinity, but what is that? Like what aspect is that? So like I say, the ancient Egyptians did a good job with it. You know, Judaic culture teaches it a lot. Even in my Native American culture, we understand the difference between these aspects, like that man chooses to operate on. We call these aspects of the shalup or the spirit your totemic energy. Yeah. You know, you operating in your animalistic nature. Like one of the first tasks that Adam had on the planet was to name the animals.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the reason for why Adam had to name the animals is because that he would have a relationship with these energies, but he would also know what separated him from the animal. He had to know the nature of the animal, but he also had to know what separated him from the animal. You know what I mean? So this was a divine lesson that was taught in that story.
Yeah.
Well, very, very divine, more than normal.
Yeah. Well, I think we're probably just saying the same thing in a different way, because again, it's all the aspect of the earth. It's the earth consciousness.
Yes.
And so connecting in with that gives you the that type of understanding. So, you know, we consider like the animals represent a part of your psyche. So different animals represent different things in your psyche. And you know, the crystal frequencies, you know, represent your crystalline structure and construct your etheric body. So all of nature is a part of those 5 or 9 aspects you talk about. And so when we work through the nature, that's when we can align. So if there's something to be conquered within ourselves, that's going to come through nature. Nature is going to throw that up in your reality and go, right, you want to walk through this door? This is what you need to jump over or work through to get through through that door. And so as I says, unless we connect with nature, which is our nature, there's no moving forward or having that comprehension of the fullness of your own nature.
That is a fact.
I
And
feel
you
that. I
know, if
feel
we
that. I
go
feel
back to
that.
the ancient Latin and Greek, we know that the word psyche itself deals with the soul. You know, and a lot of people, I tell you, everyone has to be a psychologist.
Yeah.
Everyone. You know, you have to be
You
a
have to be your
studier of
own
the soul.
psychologist.
Yeah,
Come
you have
on.
to, because you have to study the soul. You know, you have to be aware. You have to be a true disciple of this. And a lot of people, I know, they study spirituality, right? I know people study history and things, but you must study psychology. You must be a student of your own soul. You know, you must be aware of its nature. You must be aware of how it seeks to express, and what modes of expression bring about optimal results. You know, you must know how it feels and what it feels. You know, you must know how to be a student of self. You know, of divine self. What is the self? What does that even mean when I say self? You know, like, and you know, to that degree, and what is self, and then what is oneness? You know, all of these things are forms of psychology, the studying of the aspects of the soul and the nature and the essence of it. You know, this is not just not just studying the brain. You know, there's a difference between studying the soul psychology in the sense to where they speak of it, and true psychology. You know, it's not just studying aspects of the brain, knowing the difference between the hypothalamus, the occipital lobe, and neuronic synapses and things of that nature. It's really understanding the totality of man, and what is the purpose of man, what is the essence of man, what drives man, what binds man, what looses expression. All of these things are very important, you know.
Yeah. And just to add that, and then there's the actual application. So what you understand, you need to apply to your reality, because there's far too many bookworms out there. Yeah,
Not
I know
applying.
this, and I know that.
Yeah.
But Anga, where's the application?
Right. I tell people, knowing is not the height of intelligence.
No,
Knowing is not the height of intelligence.
no,
Understanding. And then after understanding,
I'll let
there
you
must
finish.
come wisdom.
I'll let you finish. You know what? I probably get cussed off a bit for talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it here for once on the live. I try and talk to. Sometimes I try to talk to the sisters and say, "You haven't found inner peace." Oh my gosh, they get on to me. I know inner peace. I got inner peace. Da. Yeah, okay. You just proved my point. I've just said to you, you need to find inner peace, and your reaction proves you haven't found it, because someone, and when I try to explain to them is that when I meet people who have accessed inner peace. Oh, sorry, Heavy must have jumped out. I'll be back again soon. When I meet people who have accessed inner peace, they don't react a certain type of way. They call it the Buddha meditation. Oh, I hear you, but I just don't accept the gift that you're giving me, because the gift you're giving me now is negative energy. So you can keep your gift. That's the Buddhist mentality. I can choose to accept what energies I pay attention to, what energies I focus on. So if I don't want to focus on your negative behavior, negative energy, I've got the right to ignore you, be ignorant towards how you're reacting. And it's not a personal thing against you, it's personal towards myself, because I don't want my energy to be drained. You know, I want to preserve my peace. And that's why when I say to sisters, you need to find the inner peace, it's that we're so easily perplexed. Someone could just come along and go poke, and now you go and you're all reacting and all over the place, and your emotions are flying everywhere. That's not having inner peace.
But
having inner peace is knowing.
that's how But that's how we get controlled as a society, because we all are running off emotions. Everything
Yeah.
is everything we watch is just poking at our emotions to get a reaction out of us. Instead of we just staying neutral and not reacting at all, we're swinging this way, we're swinging that way, and we're totally distracted, and we're not focusing inwards. We're going on, well, what's going on over there, and this and that, and it's just a total.
That goes into different levels of attention. What you're describing is reactive attention, and opposed to intuitive or willing attention, or executive attention, right?
How many
reactive
attentions was that? 5?
Yeah, right. So yeah, reactive attention is just based off of you seeing something outside of self and you just reacting to it. So it's hijacked your consciousness in that way. Willful attention is what you willfully set your attention on. You see what I'm saying? Executive attention is you having a plan and knowing what the outcome is going to be, so you set your intentions on those things to achieve a certain outcome. Intuitive deals with something that is inward, and you're paying attention to what is inward inside of you, and that is the thing that you're more focused on. You get what I'm saying? But I've never been big on people using certain words like negative and positive, right? Because I don't see negative and positive the way mostly, or high vibration and low vibration, as if the universe doesn't have positive, low vibrations. When I play a guitar, there's low vibrations. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with music, there are lower vibrations and higher vibrations. One is not good or bad. I don't see positive and negative either, and as in bad or good. I don't think those terms are synonymous. I look at positive and negative more like electromagnetism, right? One is for giving out, one is for receiving. You know what I mean? I tell people, if you want to speak on good and bad, the opposite of good isn't bad. The opposite of good is evil. So if something is evil, just call it evil. You know, don't say negative. Don't say, low vibrational. Don't say no. If it's evil, it's evil. And I think that's what places, because we have this perceived notion that if something is low vibrational, that it's
necessarily evil.
Right.
For example,
and that's not the case. There are many things that are of a low vibration, and they're at a low vibration because that's the state that they need to be in for existence. But even at that low vibration, it is still something good. Everything isn't high vibrational. You know what I mean? Like when you think of wood isn't high vibrational. In opposed to say something like a crystal, which is of a higher vibration than say wood. You know what I mean? Or so it's like, well, because it's low vibrational, it's not good. Like, no, it's still, it has its place. So everything has a state of being, and it's up to us to be able to discern whether it's high or whether it's low. Do I understand the interpretation of the thing? But and I tell people, just call it out. If it's evil, it's evil. If it's good, it's good. But call it for what it is and be able to understand it. Like if the brother if you said something to me and I'm like, oh, that's low vibrational. Like what? No, what do I really mean by that? Like what do you mean? Like it's low vibrational. Are you saying you just don't like it? Are you saying it rubs you the wrong way, or whatever? Right?
So a warning flag to everyone who returns to this page for these conversations. We're not going to refer to positive and negative as good and bad. We have to respect the fact that there is a thermometer and 0 is the absolute center. If you want to freeze, you got to hit the 0 and go below it. If you want to be warm, you got to go above it. Now, the reality is you can be so far above 0, you get so hot, you want to cool down. Now, what do you need in your life? Sub-0 to cool you back down, to bring you to a state of, I'm not too hot, I'm not too cold. So we need balance. The penultimate life is balance. Yes.
Right. And some people are, and one of my favorite sayings is, some people are so heavenly minded, they're no earthly good. They're so high vibrational that they can't recognize the subtle vibrations. You know, the thing that just kind of is very subtle. You know, because certain things are really, the subtle things are almost like the hidden things. They're the hidden things, you know, and you have to be able to uncover the hidden things, you know, the hidden jewels, the hidden gems, the hidden mystery, the understanding of the thing. And it doesn't come from a high vibrational place all the time. Sometimes it's very subtle. Sometimes wisdom comes across very subtle. You know, it's not of a high frequency. You know what I mean? So you just have to be receptive, which is a negative trait. You know, when you're talking about magnetism, you know, receptibility is negative. You know what I mean? And you have to be able,
because you're
and that's
receiving,
also,
you're pulling in. Yeah.
right. That also goes with the divine feminine. You know what I mean? And it's this ability to receive. You know, and some of us have to put ourselves in the negative space. We have to become nothing so that we can possibly have the potential for everything. You know what I mean? If you are defined as the something already, that says what you are not, you know, and what you can't have in certain spaces.
Is that Lu Sun, the Chinese philosopher? So
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to become nothing. Sometimes you have to be nullified. You know, that's like if you're placed in an ocean, right? And the waves are tossing to and fro and you're just thrown in the middle of the ocean. You've been nullified. Now the way the waves want to take you, you're subsand, and sometimes, you know, you have to be placed in the place of nullification. You know, when you're in the presence of divinity, you're nullified. You know, you become like nothing so that you can receive, you know. So it's okay to be in the negative space at times. And I know that's hard for certain people to understand because of the connotations that they've put on this word negative, you know, but you have to sometimes be in this space to receive, you know.
So to be empty to receive.
Focus.
Yeah. You have to be empty. You have to be like nothing. Be no thing, and you have the potential of being everything.
I like it. You know what? I'm in the zone right now. You guys are just like sending me off into your next higher meditation. Thank you. Deeper into myself. I'm just like, what? I'm having these conversations on my live. I'm so happy. Most lives are just in a complete distraction, and we're able to come here and feed people knowledge and leave it for the future, like the star in the distance. So when people come and see the light sometime down the line, they're going to go, what were these guys talking about? Oh, wow. And learn something. Learn it. So, and self-knowledge. One of my key drives is teaching people about self. The differentiation between the lower physical aspect of self and the true definition of self, the higher divine spiritual self, that inner soul, the inner spirit, the source. The English is so hoodwinked as a language. We get this idea that selfish means to be egocentric. And I'm literally differentiating that now, people. Egocentric and selfish are not the same things. If you want to be like the self, two qualities are most certainly necessary. One of those qualities is unconditional love. Self loves unconditionally. It doesn't change its state of love based on whether you're a male or a female. If you was born in Africa or in Europe, you're given that source of life unconditionally. So to be self-like, to truly be selfish, we need to tap into that thing called unconditional love and express it. Not just say we have it, express it in liberty, in action, in mind, in thought, in deed. And the other great thing you need to really tap into selfishness is inner peace, because state is in a constant, itself is in a state of eternal peace, constantly. It never changes. So to be like self is to be peaceful, to be of greater peace. And Western society has kind of distorted the idea of selfish. So we don't see selfish as those two great qualities. To us, selfish is, I want a nice Mercedes Benz. I don't care what you're driving. You could be on rollerblades and a bicycle for all I care. I'm keeping it all to me. Me. I want all the women for me. Bruh, heavy. you know what, I'm coming for your girl heavy because I'm selfish. Like, that's the Western mentality of selfish, a distortion of the truth about self.
Oh
So
man, I feel a little biased. I don't think it's just the West that feels that way.
yeah.
No, no, but
Yeah.
to truly be selfish is to be selfish, right?
Soul.
To be like the Soph, to be like
Okay.
be like her name, Ein Soph, which deals with
Ain't
this level.
so.
Right.
Hey.
It deals with this. It's not spirit or matter, right? It's literally a state of nothingness. And when you put yourself in this state of nothingness, you really, the center becomes everywhere. So to be self-centered, truly in that space, is to make the center everywhere. That way you can be like Christ said, become all things to all men. You know, many people, and this is a wisdom that's escaped a lot of people when it pertains to the self. You know, what is the self? What is this concept of being? You know, being, but not. You know, and it's having your center point at that is an all access point. You know, it's an all access to the everything. You know, so you have to. This requires divine wisdom and divine intelligence. You know, and so many people are caught on worldly knowledge. You know, they seek the things of the world. They want to know the world. And when you say the world, typically the world to them is everyday affairs. The world to them is society. You know, that's the world. You know, but the true world is tied up in divine word. You know, and it's the world that you create through truth. You know, through proper speech, through conduct, through, you know, all of these things. You know, and I always encourage people to. My philosophy will always be righteousness and truth. You know, walk in righteousness, speak righteously, walk in purity, speak purely. You know, because this is the only way that we'll truly be able to perceive the world through the lens of the divine. You know, it's other than that, you know, we'll constantly go through these fluxes and not understand the significance of it. You know.
That part there, that last part, constantly going through the fluxes and not grasping the significance of it. Dangerous place to be.
We've been
It's a dangerous place to
doing that for millennia. Very, very long time.
So that's the Great Awakening now. We're in that phase, the apocalypse phase, where there's a great shift taking place on Earth. From what I'm aware, it's called a pole shift,
Right.
which is it's an old fable says there will come a day when the sun will rise in the west and set in the east. All right. So the center of that movement, the sun changing direction, is literally this pole shift that we are talking about. What we don't have any physical history that can literally say, yeah, the last time the sun was traveling in that direction was around this physical, how many thousands of years ago? Like we would say, the last ice age was 12,000 years ago, and we would say dinosaurs were 172 million years ago, and all of this stuff. So we've got all of these accurate numbers for all of these events, but we don't have an accurate number for.
Hang on. Who said they were accurate?
No,
Sorry.
Quotation marks, open close quotation, accurate.
Didn't I tell you? Everything is a lie. Don't believe nothing.
Right. Let's repeat again. Everything is I'm me a lie, them I tell. Okay, but
that's a fact.
Life is a beautiful thing. Some people will say karma's a beep. I'll be like, what? Karma's beautiful? Karma is beautiful as far as I'm concerned. You do good, she'll give you back good. If you do it wickedness, she got, you know. So, but life, the events that we're going through, some people are capable of tapping into the Akashic records, for example, consciously tapping into the Akashic records and going and seeing what happened in the past. Some people will be like, what the heck are you on about? What's Akashic records? So the state of self-awareness, the number one lesson, self-awareness. And then from we get you to self-awareness, I can get you to tune in and pay attention to the different stages of self and how different parts of yourself works. Science only teaches us the physical self and then goes to the brain. The mind, some reason, is spoken about but cannot be scientifically proven. And pseudoscience does not want to include the soul in any of this conversation. So that's why I call it pseudoscience, because true science knows all of the physical realm was created from the spiritual side. So you can't have physical without spiritual. But they cannot use the physical to measure the spiritual. That's absolutely impossible. And this is why they can't prove God and prove the spirit and all of that foolishness, quote unquote, by the way, because the perspective of modern science doesn't come from the spirit made the physical. The perspective of science is the physical was just a big bang, boom, but they can't explain how the bang happened.
Right. So
no Big Bang theorist can say, well, the reason why it banged is because I rest my I let you go too heavy.
We don't need to have this conversation because at the end of the day, knowledge outside of yourself is nothing. In order to comprehend the universe, to comprehend the earth, you have to go in. You have to go into the soul to understand how your soul came about, to understand how we came about, how the earth came about, how the cosmos came about. And so when people who are disconnected and cut off and are just purely working from, can't even say 10% of their brain, you know what I mean? It's a nonsense. I remember I was in Egypt and I was in one of the tombs and there was an archaeologist and he was dusting away and stuff. And I just heard the voice just say, well, he's never going to find anything looking through those eyes. And yeah, exactly. I just laughed because what they were saying through his consciousness, he's not going to perceive the reality of things, the truth of things based upon, and so this is where you're trying to look at a physical thing without having walked the path to understand it. You have to walk that path to know it. You can't examine it from outside of yourself. That's why not make sense.
Right. And even if you did walk the path.
Can you hear? Are you good? I got a call. Okay.
The phenomena and how it expressed itself, because what we're talking about is in the spirit realm, things are perfected, right? You're dealing with absoluteness, right? And to be conscious and to be conscious of your perfection and its achievements, it cannot be done within the absolute, right? This is why creation exists. Creation exists so that the absolute could have a place to have to step out of absoluteness and go into the realm of experience. And experience has to allow, right. So experience has to leave space for change and leave space for, right? So even though in the earth realm there is change and flux, it is being governed by something that is infinite, something that is eternal, and that thing can't be measured with anything in the objective reality, right? You can only experience this phenomenon, right? And possibly try to gauge
infinite.
Yeah.
Sorry,
gauge,
two words, infinite and eternal. You can't measure that.
you can't. You like how can you measure it? It literally means unmeasurable. You're right. You can't
literally.
Right. So it doesn't make sense. It wasn't meant to be measured. It was meant to be experienced. And this is where science is gonna, this is where science kind of puts itself in a corner, because science looks for empirical data. right? And also something that can be measured, right? So certain phenomena can be measured, right? Based on the physical containment that it's being expressed through. But ultimately, you can't measure the thing in its totality, because that's like measuring absoluteness. How can you measure absoluteness? Like, it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So all we can do is be witnesses of these phenomena, you know, which is a beautiful thing in itself. You know, it's a very beautiful thing, you know.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, it's getting bad. It's getting past my bedtime now.
I was gonna say,
remember I said to you 1 hour.
It's not gonna happen. Look, 1 hour for you to just break down the ice, and then we're gonna have to talk to the people, because the people want to talk. You know, they want to hear a little conversation and hear some more from Empress Golda White.
And I love the
people.
name Ein Sof.
I just wanna heavy. When I met Golda, it was about 8 years ago. She was teaching yoga.
8 years?
Yeah, it was like 2012. Oh wait, it was more than that, innit? 12 years ago.
But yeah.
12 years ago. Oh my gosh. 2012.
2024.
See how time flies?
Yeah,
time
man.
flies. Yeah, man, I have grey beard. So when I met Golda over 10 years ago, she was a yoga teacher at the time, primarily, and she also was doing chakra cleansing. And I had a deep self-awakening on that cleansing. I got to meet someone very close to me. She introduced me to someone that I was talking to my whole life and didn't know who it was. And other people, I won't go into much detail here, but that process showed me that there is so much more. All of the ideas that I was given as a child through Christianity, for example, that didn't resonate with actual reality, those things shifted over time. And by the time I got to meeting Golda, it was like concrete. That's it. Forget all of that old stuff, what you knew. That ain't going to work for you, big man. This is what's really happening. And this is what has been happening. And this is what is going to happen for you now, moving forward. So I take great honor in bringing Golda. This is like your third time on Instagram live ever. Is that correct, Golda?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, you can tell him how technophobic I was. I didn't want to do no social media, none of it.
Right.
And then
I'll tell you this: you haven't missed anything.
Not really.
You haven't missed anything, you know, at all.
And the whole purpose. Yeah, and the whole purpose is for the summer solstice event that we're doing this year for the June 20th, 2024. Sounds like. Brilliant.
Now is this a part of some group, or is this just a collective conscious push that you guys are doing? Is it like, what is, like, break it down?
Well, yeah, so it's a collective consciousness push. So it's for those who kind of like recognize what I'm saying and what I'm trying to pulling together together. So, you know, I'm just pulling it out there, you know. I'm calling all the, I don't know, the high priests and the shamans and you know, the, I don't know, the earth keepers and the medicine doctors, all those who are kind of like of that lineage to come in to support that. And to support the birthing of this line at this time, and also for their own kind of like personal
development, self-development.
Yeah.
Now, is this like, where's it going to be held? Is it in Essex, Sussex, Birmingham, like
West Midlands?
It's in Birmingham, UK. So it's right in the centre of the UK. And so the energies from there do ripple out, as I've demonstrated, in terms of, you know, very much interdimensional planes and portals. So it will be it's in a listed building. So a old house, which also has some history to it, which is very important. So I was guided to that specific spot, and to that location, for the event. So if anyone wants to get more details, they can visit my website. You'll drop it in. It's in the little advert, isn't it, Ras?
It's in your advert, and I think we've got it on your bio as well. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
So you can visit the website or go to Eventbrite. You can get tickets there. I mean, the tickets are only £20 because it's not an event that I'm running for profit. I just needed to cover the house fees, the facilities. So just to cover, the listed building doesn't come cheap. So it's just to cover those, really. And there's other things going on at the event. So we've got about 8 presenters. So we've got Shashamani. She's doing spoken word with sacred geometry. We've got like I said, we've got Ashana. She'll be working with the crystal stones, and the earth consciousness. We've got Anne-Marie. She's going to be doing frequency healing with some crystal bowls.
Is that the one that was on the live last week, Anne-Marie?
Yeah.
She makes clues. She said she can look at you and just make clues to you based on the energy. Is that something that I was like, what?
That's nice. Well, I gotta hook you up. I gotta hook you up with some of my.
No.
Is that a different person?
Yeah, that's a different person. So there's Jackie. So she will look at you and make something according to the nature of your soul.
Oh, Jackie, Anne-Marie. See, I'm still getting used to the team heavy, so work with me.
Right. So I have a lot of friends in the UK of the conscious community. I'll definitely check out your page and send that to them. Send them that way so they can actually be a part of this, because it sounds like a pretty dope event that you're trying to put on. Kudos to you for being a leader and not a follower, waiting for someone else to do it. A lot of people talk about it, but they don't put themselves in the position of just initiating some of the stuff, and that's usually what it just takes for people just to be an initiator. That's good. I love that. Man. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's not easy, because when I went to Ras and I phoned him, I goes, you know what? I booked this thing and I'm putting on this event, but you know what? I don't know no people. Who am I going to invite?
And I'm like, Goldo, what? You don't know who? What? Because classes. You know people. You just don't. And then she explained to me, no, it's not that. I just don't want the wrong people there. We need the right people there. And I was like, okay. All right, it makes sense now. It makes sense.
Now I was thinking of taking in June. I was planning my Caribbean trip. I might have to switch. I might have to switch my trips out and make a UK trip, man.
It's just a detour. Just the detour. Just come to England first and then go there after. Get it? We call 1 week over here. That you can just get me.
Yeah. I might have to do a little detour, man. It's got a lot of people over there I haven't seen.
Let me answer. Eli Music asked the question. I think he said, "There's a Birmingham in the United States too, or America's got a? I think it's Birmingham, Alabama."
Right, they're nothing alike. They are nothing alike. Nothing alike.
I know Alabama is a crazy state in the history of the United States. Is it South or somewhere Midwest?
It's in the South, and it has a different history. Now, my native tribe. We're known in English. You say Choctaw, right? And
Choctaw,
half of Alabama was part of our lands. So we didn't meet people from the UK until the 1800s. So there's this thing about slavery that everyone thinks it's it started in the 1400s or whatever the case may be. But my lands, we didn't experience this European to that degree until the 1800s.
Which is weird, because it was abolished in 1808. So that's a tight time. That means after the abolition, this
Right.
thing was still popping.
Well, here in the United States, slavery was abolished in 1863 or 1868.
Okay.
So my people signed
60 years
treaties
later.
with them in the 1820s and 30s. We signed treaties, right? And that's how you get the land of Oklahoma here in America. Some of my people were relocated to those lands in other states. But yeah, so the history here, if you guys understood it, it would probably blow your mind, because it's not the way that it's presented, probably even in your history books. You probably have to talk. You would have to talk to natives around the United States, because everywhere dealt with the European in a different capacity. Like we dealt with them in a different capacity. Like
Florida, for example, Florida would have been different to you guys, I would assume.
Well, Florida was a part of what's known as New Spain. My lands were a part of New Spain. You know, this was during the time of I guess you would say the 13 colonies up north. With New York and Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
All of that. When did matter of fact, this is a good question. When did the slaves start to arrive in the UK?
Wait, we're segregating the actual Nubians that were here before slavery, right?
Yeah.
So slaves arrived in the UK roughly around the 1700s. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but we was already here as Nubians. We
existed here.
But the slave trade, slavery, you know, in passing, where they was bringing us in from the Caribbean and from Africa, that really didn't take place hardcore at all in England. It was disproportionate. So, for example, if a husband thought, you know what, I need a little slave nigger for my daughter or my wife, then he would specifically bring a slave back. They weren't importing in lots of Negroes here. We were already here.
Now, was that by way of the Moors, or was that just
older than the Moors? Scotland is named after a queen whose name is Scots.
Right.
She's I think she's a Cushite. And Nova Scotia is named after Scotland, New Scotland.
Oh. Yes.
And it's the first queen of the British Isles, first monarchy of the British Isles. Like, it was even called Scotland before this was England and before Wales and Ireland were invented.
Right. And that's something, and I think that's something to be, that's something that needs to be about amongst us, you know, as a people, like, because you're on that side of the pond, and being able to exchange that type of knowledge, you know, so that we can have a certain understanding. Because I think that there's a completely different, like here in the States, like there were natives that were of darker hue, like my tribe, you know, so black people were already, you know, in the lands, you know what I'm saying? We can tell you when the first Africans actually came here, you know, into our lands and things of that nature. So yeah, that's same kind of concept here, you know, many indigenous black tribes that existed here well before the European ever stepped foot over here.
Long before them there.
Yeah.
Well, I need to let the Sister of Light go so she can go recharge the energies and keep guiding us and leading us on the way to the future of
Pleasure meeting you, Goddess. Pleasure meeting you, Goddess. I definitely followed.
Yeah, thank you. So I'll be here again next week to look at the last part. So the suppression of consciousness and what really that causes, what kind of havoc it causes. I mean, we can all see the havoc. So and I don't like to leave it on like a footing of kind of like discord. We're going to also look at the way forward.
Yeah.
Right.
You can look at the way forward.
So in Indigo Nation, y'all listening, man, we might have to take this trip out to the UK. Y'all get y'all money together. We might be out there in June. Let's
would be so grateful for that. It's it's May now, so we're talking about roughly 6 weeks from now, people. Roughly 6 weeks. So get it popping, man. Guys, make sure you hit up Heavy and see if I can get you guys over here to get into this event. It would be so cool to have you guys come across the pond and join us here. That would be brilliant. I think she's had a call, so
yeah, we're out of here.
Manners
guys.
and respect. Peace.
Much respect.
Everybody.
Peace, brother.
Much love.